following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it's time for another edition of Mick Shots on a Thursday here inside the SWBC Podcast Studio. Center at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones, future Hall of Famer Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola. And this is a good day because the Cowboys have decided to go ahead and practice today for the New England Patriots. They are outside on the practice field.
As we speak.
Because Mike wanted to smell the grass.
There you
it smells like football.
That's exactly right.
But they have turf in New England.
Yes, I believe they do.
Okay. He just wanted to smell something.
I was trying to remember because that driving rainstorm in 2019, the field didn't get torn up.
No,
so I think
not.
They were fine.
Yep. And, of course, yesterday they were indoors because we had the looming presence of thunderstorms in the area, but outside today, even though there was still a looming presence of cloud cover.
Yes, it is.
Well, they were prepared at one point to take it inside, and then nothing happened, so they stayed out there. Because when it was our turn to come in, they said, we're going to stay here because the guys are going in. And then I think the radar cleared, so
there you go.
They're outside for the whole session.
And it's supposed to be decent weather, I think, on Sunday, although it's been a couple of days since I checked on that. And in contrast to 2 years ago when the Cowboys went up there in a monsoon and lost to the Patriots 13-9.
I don't think I've seen a game played in worse weather. Like they had to continue playing.
Mm-hmm.
I played in New Jersey, man, so I don't know about that, Spags.
Well, I didn't see it. It was
and Cleveland, by the way.
It was a driving rainstorm. You'd rather snow than the rain coming down like that.
That's true. That is exactly true.
And it was coming down sideways because the wind was blowing.
1990, when we played Buffalo, I was with the Giants. We played Buffalo in New Jersey, and it was below freezing, and it rained.
Yeah,
the entire game below freezing, like 29 degrees,
and
it rained the entire game. It wouldn't stop. So once you fall, because puddles all over the place. Once you fall in,
you're wet.
It's over,
right?
It's over. It's like being in the snow. Once you fall in the snow, your hands are cold. You can't do anything else.
Socks are wet.
It's done. It's done. And so that was pretty miserable. I remember my free safety, Myron Guyton. He's coming up to me and he's talking, as his jaw is quivering. And I'm like, what did you just say? And he couldn't even repeat himself. He was so cold.
I think the only worst weather game I've seen, and I don't know if you guys remember this, it would have been
the Ice Bowl?
No, it was.
He was there.
Close.
He was there, remember?
It was the Fog Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Chicago versus Philadelphia. Yeah.
And I was in the press box and could not see past maybe a third of the field going across, right? And at one point, the fog got so thick, we were watching the TV monitor because the TV cameras can lighten up. They can get more light on the field, right? And so you can see better because we couldn't see. I couldn't see the other side.
The players could
not see the other sideline.
Why were you at the Fog Bowl, which, by the way, was played New Year's Eve 1988?
Yeah, because I was working at the newspaper, and we covered things like that.
What newspaper?
The Dallas Times-Herald.
You went to an Eagles-Bears game in 1988.
Yes, we covered the playoffs.
That's right.
Because the Cowboys, they covered the playoffs, and the Cowboys were not in it.
Yeah.
So they still had to cover it, whether we were in it or not.
Plus, I had a free place to stay, right? My parents were still living there.
I think he volunteered for that.
That's how you got the.
He volunteered for it, Bill.
Yeah, he was there for the holidays.
No,
that's why.
I had been on.
Times-Herald didn't send you there.
I had been on the Bears beat since '85. Basically,
really,
I spent half the season in '85 up there covering the Bears.
So, were you the NFL reporter or were you the Cowboys beat writer?
I was the backup guy. I was the guy that did everything.
Okay.
Okay, so you were sometimes the NFL beat reporter and sometimes the Cowboys beat reporter.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. No, I wasn't the beat reporter. I was the backup guy when the beat reporter took a day off.
Okay, so full-time Cowboy reporter, but backup. So then the backup went down.
For the Times Herald, then, who was the Cowboys beat reporter, and did you have an NFL reporter that traveled to every city?
We had Jim Dent was
the Cowboys
beat
writer.
Reporter, and then the NFL. I think maybe it was Jack Shepard was doing. He was doing college, but he was also doing backup. He was doing NFL.
Let me tell you, those were glory days of reporting.
Absolutely.
And
why is that? Talk to me.
Because we covered everything.
You know, and what really happened in Dallas-Fort Worth media. What would you say it was when Dave Smith came here, the morning news, and what the Boston Globe, and this relates to the Patriots. It always was the pinnacle as far as newspaper sports sections go. And so Dave Smith came to Dallas in the 80s, I don't remember exactly when, and
from the Boston Globe.
turned the Dallas Morning News sports page into Sports Day, okay? And the coverage just went through the roof. Well, there was great competition between the Times Herald and the Morning News, so the Times Herald matched that with the Morning News.
We tried.
At the time.
We started running.
You tried.
We started running out of funds.
You started something that you couldn't finish.
And we're talking about writers that are well known, some in the Hall of Fame, Rick Gosselin. That were
he came a little later than those 80s.
But that it was born though during that time. And of course Skip Bayless was was he Times Herald first, then Morning News, or vice versa?
Yes,
it was Times Herald
Blackie
first,
Sherrod.
Yeah.
No, he was Morning News, then Times Herald.
Okay.
And Blackie was the Times Herald, and then he went to the Morning News.
And you had Randy Galloway, and but the coverage from the high schools to the colleges to the professional ranks in every sport was second to none.
Well, just like I told the story yesterday about them sending me to the Giants to do stories before the Cowboys played the Giants in '86.
Yeah. It trickled over to television, too. I mean, I was telling the story about when the Cowboys played the Eagles in 1992, the Monday night game. Cowboys started the season, I think, 4-0 that year, big Monday night game. I was working at Channel 5 in Dallas at the time, and they sent me there all week. I was there in the Eagles locker room on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, doing stories on the Eagles leading up to that game.
So you're saying the sports publications had the money and the wherewithal
there was an investment in it.
To invest in it, send you guys where you need to
I
go
remember,
for full coverage. Versus now, give me now. So what are you looking at
you
right
find
now?
somebody that lives there to do your freelance story.
Okay.
And actually during the 90s, after the paper closed and I was freelancing, that was part of my freelance.
Yeah.
Because people
That's the change.
They knew I was here,
Yeah.
right? And instead of sending their guy the expense, it's like, okay, for a couple $100, he can do a story for us, right? And when you're freelancing, it's like whatever they pay you is good, right? You're not going to sit there and that's not enough money.
Does it compromise the coverage, though? Do you think it compromises the coverage
if you
of the
find
sport?
somebody that you trust, and you're basically doing feature stories, right? It's not like you're digging for news or anything.
I understand.
And that was it. And I was fortunate because when I was freelancing, the Cowboys got good, right? And it was good timing because now everybody wanted a piece of them. But that was a very different era in the 80s when I got here.
Learning from you guys' standpoint.
Well, you witnessed it. You saw the battles going on in the locker room between the beat writers, right?
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Well, and the other part of it is the access, and of course now after COVID and so forth, it's been cut back, to where there's no access in the locker room.
I have always said. The battle between the beat writers in the Dallas locker room, I don't know what was going on in Boston, and the Raiders were some of the very controversial teams. I thought that was the beginning of this way too information age and era that we're in now.
Oh, no.
I told you Jim Dent's hiding around the corner. Trying to listen to our conversations in the locker room. There was a lot of stuff going on culturally. We had the union. We had still always had the racism thing going on. So everything was just so volatile. And those beat writers used that. Myers ends up at HBO Dent ends up, where he ended up. But Skip Bayless ends up, writing a book, and he trashed the Cowboys. And when I went up there one time to do an interview, of all the people to have in office, no one else had an office up there. And this wasn't in Connecticut. It was somewhere in New York. I forget where the studio was. Woody, the older dude?
Yeah.
Woody and Skip had an office
in Denver.
And they loved them up
Woody
there,
Page.
I think, because of the controversy that they stirred up.
Yeah.
Everyone loved Skip because of the book that he wrote about the whole thing about Troy Aikman and all of that. Then all of a sudden, these guys have top billing on TV in New York nationwide. And to me, that was the beginning of this whole gossip type of coverage that they use now when they cover the team.
Yeah, but
I hated that.
It was a little bit more. It was a little different back then because I know what they were doing, right? But at least it was journalistically sound. It wasn't.
You believe that?
Oh yeah. Now, not books.
Yeah.
Books are never journalistically sound.
Yeah.
But from a newspaper standpoint.
But some of the exposés, that's all just clouded in. It's a mini book. It's a novella.
Well, remember, Watergate changed everything in the newspaper.
Well, you know what?
Right.
We had the Watergate in not Thousand Oaks, but the Valley Ranch.
Well, yeah.
The Watergate started.
Do you
in the
remember
NFL
when Gary
and Valley
Myers
Ranch.
did the survey, or he did a poll on who they wanted for quarterback?
Yeah.
Either Danny White or
First of all, I started
Steve
that.
Or not Steve Pullo.
Gary Hogaboo.
Yeah, Gary Hogaboo.
Yeah,
right?
I was one of those that started that. So I totally raised my hand on that one. Okay, I don't hide from anything. I totally raised my hand on that one.
And I remember Myers, and I think I saw this. Myers walked into where the little lunchroom was, right? And Hogaboom said, "What are you doing in here? This is players only." And he goes, "Well, what are you doing in here?" And Hogaboom grabbed him by.
Oh, that is so funny.
Hogaboom grabbed him by the shirt and carried him out of the lunchroom.
I thought you were going to say grabbed him by his pencil neck.
Well, it might as well have been his neck, right?
Well, Gary wasn't a pencil neck. Yeah.
I mean, the competition was fierce. I remember in '86, came back from London after the preseason game.
Yes, the Bears.
And so it was. They gave the other guys off, and I had to go to Thousand Oaks. Or I should say, I got to go to Thousand Oaks and cover that week. Well, it was the week where the USFL folded, and it folded when we were in London, as a matter of fact, because we were up in the hospitality room at the hotel, and Tex got the call from Pete Rozelle, right? And they were going on and on, just celebrating on the phone. And Tex was loud, "Oh, Pete, I love you," and just all this stuff, right? And Marty, Tex's wife, she was a beauty, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Tex."
Be married to Tex, yeah.
She goes, "Tex, if you get any louder, the Queen's going to hear you out the window," right? So anyway, I had to come back, and that's when the Cowboys were able to negotiate with Herschel to get him, because they had already drafted him, so they had the rights. So I had
that
to
was
do
the beginning of the end for Tony Dorsett.
Yeah, I had to do this big long story on Herschel Walker, and so we're in the media dorm at Kowloon, and I'm scrambling trying to get Herschel, and I basically left him a message, right? So I got my story already written, and about 1 o'clock in the morning, or maybe midnight, West Coast time, the phone rings, and the person goes, "Hi, this is Herschel Walker," and I ain't buying it, right? Because he was in New Jersey, and this is 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Not the best Herschel impersonation
Right.
in the world.
I could have tried harder. So my college roommate.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I thought that maybe that's what the phone call sounded like.
No. So my college roommate covered Herschel. He was working in Atlanta at the paper, and he was at Georgia then. So he had Herschel's voice down perfectly. And I'd already talked to him about the story, what he was like when he was at Georgia.
So you thought that was
I
him.
thought it was him. So I wasn't falling for it. I was just going to ask inane questions, right, and just to test it out, right? And about 3 or 4 questions in, it dawned on me. I go,
That's the
this
dude,
is Herschel
yeah.
Walker, right? So we get this long interview, right? It's in 86.
At 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning, he calls me back, and he was
He's
living
New
in
Jersey.
Trump Towers.
Okay.
Because Trump owned
the New Jersey Generals.
Of course, that was his boy.
And,
It is his boy.
And so
It still is. Yeah, that's why he's running for
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you. I didn't want to bring it up.
So I do this. We must have talked for a half hour, right? He was great. And we get to the end, and he goes, do you know guy Gary Myers? He said, I think it's the morning news. Do
I'm
you
calling
know?
Myers after this show.
Oh, I've already told him the story, right? And I go, yeah. He goes, well, can you do me a favor? Tell him that I tried to return his phone calls, so if you see him, tell him to give me a call. And I said, oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So he can do his story, too. And I called him right after mine is coming out.
Exactly.
Yes.
I said, oh, yeah, absolutely, right?
But you see, now that's coming from a journalistic place.
Right.
But when you're talking about, what's the dude named Martinez from Channel 33, following the guys home from the strip clubs after they just landed from an away game, tell me what the journalistic integrity is on that.
That was TV.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bill.
Okay.
That was. Hey,
But
Jerry Orr at Channel 8 was hiding in the bushes tracking
dude,
Jerry
it was
down.
ridiculous, man.
He was in the tree.
And
In the
this is
tree.
the stuff I was talking about. This is what I'm talking about. It started where we are now. It started where we are now to where now nothing. It's not just about how you play. Now it's about what you believe in, how you talk, what you look like, how marketable you are. It's totally gotten away from the game itself.
Oh, I won't argue with that now. We've blurred the line.
I like
between journalism and opinion.
I like that.
And the young kids don't know the difference because they never.
That's what they've grown
read a
up
newspaper,
in. That's right.
Never read a newspaper.
Very good.
Well, that was interesting.
Well, it was different.
It really was.
Hey, you can only get that on Mick Shots,
right.
by the way.
That's right.
They don't know
And
nothing
how
about
did it relate to this week's game?
We have no idea.
Because we talked about the Boston Globe and the Dallas Morning News.
That's
so
right.
There you go.
All right.
Absolutely.
Bring it back.
And by the way, when we come back,
Yes.
I read some interesting stuff in the Boston Herald on this game.
Excellent.
Oh, okay. So they still have 2 newspapers
still do,
in
yes.
Boston. Okay.
One of the few places.
All right. Okay.
2 in Chicago, 2
York.
in Boston, 3 in New York still.
D.C.?
2 in L.A. The Washington Times went out of business and they came back in somewhat of a different form.
And they still have the
there's-
Post, right?
Yeah, the Washington Post is still there, but most of the cities have one newspaper.
Miami.
Do we consider we have 2 here, even though it's Dallas and Fort Worth?
And Fort Worth, because back then you said 2, it was actually 3.
Yeah.
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 So we had 3-way competition. I can tell you some stories about
In Irving, we did not get the Fort Worth Star Telegram.
It didn't make it that far east.
Nah, we didn't get in Dallas.
that's
either.
right.
Hamilton Park wasn't filled.
All right, we continue with more, and I want to know about those injuries on both sides when
Yes,
we
sir.
come back here on Mick Shots.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, yo quiero guacamole.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mick Shots.
Be the first to receive new offers, event info, and more when you sign up to receive text messages from the team. Text Cowboys to NFLDAL. That's 635-325 to receive 10% off your next Pro Shop purchase. Messages frequency may vary. Message and data rates may apply.
That sounded familiar.
That was good.
That was good.
Sounded familiar.
Way to go.
It's an all-encompassing one.
It was, yes. And you got it spur of the moment, and you see, once again, the spontaneity
Unprepared.
of it. The
No doubt.
unprepared spontaneity of it.
Don't let them think about
That's right.
panic attacks.
That's right. All right. Do you have your injury report?
I do have an injury report here for you.
Okay.
So, Trayvon Diggs did not practice
I
again.
saw. Oh, yeah, that's right. Today he did not
Either?
practice.
Didn't practice yesterday. He has a left ankle, and today, in the portion that we were watching, he was doing his rehab work on the resistant cords, and I noticed, see what a good reporter I am, he had tennis shoes on.
Okay.
So that meant he probably wasn't practicing, right? So, yeah, he missed. And then yesterday, I guess DeMonte KZ had a hip problem going on, and he didn't finish. He started to try, I guess, and he didn't practice. And it didn't look like he was going to practice again today. So those are the
And
two
we don't
guys.
have the injury report yet. It has not
this
been
is
released
from
for
yesterday.
today.
I'm just
And
telling
you're
you
going
what
off
I saw
observation
from watching the portion that we got to watch. Ezekiel Elliott was listed as limited yesterday with ribs. And by the way, he did interview after practice yesterday, and I want you to hear his description of his injury.
Back ribs, it's ribs, like right here on the back side of me. You know, your ribs go like, you know what I mean? So, like, it's the ribs on the back side.
So what he did was he went like this.
Yeah, it sounds like you.
His hands, his ribs go all the way around.
Oh, thank you for that anatomy class.
I didn't know if you knew this or not, but your ribs go around you. Oh, you know,
he's a
on
piece
that,
of work.
I mean,
It almost sounds like a kidney punch.
Well, yeah. Well, you fell on the darn camera.
That's right.
we'll let you finish the injury report. I'd love to get to Zeke, though, at some point.
Okay. And so he was limited yesterday, but from what we saw, he had the helmet on. Today's the heavy day. They put the pads on, and he looked like he was going to participate. Randy Gregory was listed as limited. He looked like he was just fine. And Donovan Wilson has they've got him listed as limited, but watching him out there, he's pretty much looks like he's ready to go. So if KZ can't go, Wilson might be able to go.
Okay.
And that would kind of make up for that.
That would be, and that would just give us more height in the secondary.
And I did say Randy Gregory, right?
I don't think so.
He was out there. He was limited yesterday, but he was out there practicing when we were there. And as for the Patriots, they're starting running back Damian Harris. Ribs, by the way. I don't know if they're the front or the back. I'm not sure where. But he did not practice yesterday. And Shaq Mason, their starting guard, did not practice yesterday. And Jalen Mills' hamstring was limited. And when I was reading in the Boston Herald, they were saying, well, if he is able to play, there was some question, the cornerback.
Gotcha.
Now they've had some real issues on their offensive line, and in fact, it was a makeshift bunch of characters that were starting on their offensive line, playing on their offensive line last week against the Texans. A couple of them have been on the COVID list, which did not appear on that injury report.
Right, they don't have to put them on.
They're starting left tackle Isaiah Wynn, who started the first 4 games of the season, did not play last week against Houston because he was on the COVID list. I am seeing here that
hey, Bill.
Mike Onwenu, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, is back at practice today for them, and he was on the COVID list, I believe, before.
Okay.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
You want to hear Bill Belichick on his offensive line situation?
Yes, I would love to hear Coach Belichick.
This is Coach Belichick on the offensive line situation in New England.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take it day by day. See how it goes here.
That was it. I swear. I swear. That was from his press conference yesterday when asked about his offensive line.
Okay. They were also missing Justin Herron at practice today, who's another offensive tackle. See, that's why you need intrepid reporters.
That's why you got to be there, man.
That's
you
right.
got to be in his face. Oh, my goodness.
That's right. And Shaq Mason was participating today in practice.
So they had listed Herron as limited yesterday.
Okay.
And this one's saying he missed?
He was not at the open portion of practice today
okay.
for the Patriots. But Shaq Mason was back.
Well, we'll just take it day by day.
Yep. So
he's
there you
go.
Is he something?
But you know what? I'm shocked. They sent us an email today from the Patriots that Coach will be available tomorrow on a Zoom call. I was like, Belichick's really going to do a Zoom call with us?
He done. Oh, just with the Dallas report.
Yeah, it's for us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm assuming it was just for us.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. But he's, the interesting thing that I read where the reporters in Boston are looking at this game as a big test to see where the Patriots are, right? And my column for tomorrow, I got started on it, was going to be, this is going to be a big test to see if this Cowboys offense is for real going up against Belichick and the number 5 defense in the league, which, by the way, I'm going to go back and listen to our show from Tuesday and quote Everson Walls on what Belichick likes to do defensively when he goes up against a high-powered offense until Bill stopped him from giving away all the secrets. So I think it's interesting how they're looking at this game, and I think
Bill
how people
pulled for
hear
me for the Hall of Fame. Now you're gonna
right.
He endorsed you for the Hall of Fame. Now you just screwed all of that up.
That's right.
You want to hear Bill Belichick on the Cowboys offense?
Yeah, let's hear Bill.
I would love it.
Oh, here we go. This is yesterday at his press conference on the Cowboys offense.
They're balanced. They're good at everything. It's not just the players. They have a good scheme. They're well balanced. They do a lot of things that complement other things that they do.
Wow, that was a deep statement
about that.
Other things that they
I've got more if you guys
very
want.
deep statement. That's a deep statement.
Belichick on Diggs. You want that one?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it, baby.
These are fun.
I think we have time for it.
Yes.
Are you ready? This is on. They asked him about Trayvon Diggs, and he leads the league in 6 interceptions. This is what his comments was.
Yeah, distinctive, very talented guy. Plays the ball well. He's got good cover skills.
That's it.
How do you stay awake?
Yeah, man. And this got to be the shortest press conference in history.
Or shortest answers.
14 minutes long.
14 minutes long, dude.
I've got about 15 comments.
That's crazy. A comment a minute. That's including the question.
This is a really funny one, actually. They asked about Dan Quinn's defense. Okay, like has he changed the defense going from Atlanta to here? And this was his comments yesterday.
The foundation of it's similar. I wouldn't say it's quite the same.
What's different about it?
They've changed some things. They've added some things.
They changed some things.
They changed some things. Oh, he's a beauty.
You know, I mean, come on, man. I mean, why even go in there? You know,
So how would
you're waiting for that one moment?
All right, let's say he was sort of a journeyman coach, and he had been. This is like his fourth team, and how would his press conferences be different if he was a coach that was maybe on the hot seat and doesn't have 22 years of success in New England?
I don't think anyone would show up. I don't think there would be a.
And how would he be perceived by the media?
Oh, they jump all over him. Just the way I think.
And an owner wouldn't keep him as the coach if you're not selling your team a little bit more than that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You could understand him being a journeyman just by his interviews. I mean, come on. Nobody wants to talk to him. He don't want to talk to anybody. It's crazy.
I wonder if he had the sweatshirt cut, collar off, and short sleeve.
And they see that's why I so amazed when I first met him. He was just a pleasant dude.
Kind of normal.
Normal, yeah. And then after that, man, once that meeting was over, next time I saw him, it was totally different.
But like I said, last year I would regularly listen to his press conferences, and there are certain days that he was more forthcoming in interviews and stuff.
Those are the ones. That's why you stay. That's why you go to the press conference,
That's
because you're waiting for that moment
where he would go 30 minutes just talking philosophically about things, and so
be like, "Man, you missed it."
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Now, I'll tell you what, though. You know, Tom was nice about it, but he didn't give out much information.
That's exactly right. There's another comparison there between Belichick and Landry.
He didn't believe in giving up. I remember the first time I asked him a question in a press conference, and it was one of those Tuesdays, and I finally got up the nerve to ask a question. I had it rehearsed, and I got it out there, and he said,
rehearsed.
No, not. And the answer.
Mickey was in front of his mirror that morning.
In your mind.
Hey, man.
Out loud.
Did you see Mickey at home? This is my moment.
And then
talking to himself in the mirror.
And then Tom.
He's like the kid that was lifting the paint cans on the commercial.
Should I call him Coach or I should call him Tom?
You guys just ruined the punchline.
I'm sorry. Oh man, sometimes you are the punchline.
His answer was no, not really. And that was it.
That's it.
What was the question?
All I got. I don't remember the question, but all I know is the answer was no, not that. And
it
every
doesn't matter what the question
every
was.
time he got a question he didn't want to answer, it was not really.
That was it.
Yeah, just
no, not really was the answer on
it.
That question you worked so hard in front of the mirror that morning for.
And that's all I got.
You're gonna kill it, Spags. Looking at himself in the mirror.
All right, I got one last one for you guys. Okay.
One last.
So this was the quote unquote David Moore first question out of the box. The guy asked the question, and then the answer from Bill. I put the question in there because you're like, okay, what's this guy really asking? Okay, so listen to this. This is the first question out of the box yesterday.
One of the reasons it seems like the Cowboys are hard to sack offensively is they've got a good line, but Dak gets the ball out of his hands quickly. Have they been a short kind of attacking passing game from what you've seen?
If they're open down the field, he'll throw it down the field, and he'll throw it to everybody. Whoever's open. And a lot of times he's got 2 or 3 guys to choose from. It's a hard group to cover.
Well, actually, that was a good answer.
Generous. Yeah, that was generous.
Because the guy's question was like, "Did you ever watch the Cowboys play?"
It was a leading, it was like he's a leading question. They almost answered the question for him in the question.
They're get the ball out fast because they don't throw the ball down the field.
Right.
Okay.
You said it. I didn't.
Did you watch their game last week?
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
That's what he probably should have said.
Parcells would have said
that. Parcells would have just... You know what? Parcells would have ate up today's press conference, too, when they kept going on this mental thing, the coach, Chad, and the questions kept coming and coming and coming. And this was the second day in a row. And all I could think of in my mind, Parcells would have go, okay, have we had enough of this?
And see, could you imagine the difference between those two in meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Because, Bill's Bill.
Right.
I'm sorry, Belichick's Belichick and Parcells is Parcells.
Yeah.
So I would imagine once Belichick became the boss, his own boss, it kind of changed a little bit, didn't it? The dynamic changed a little bit because first you got yap, 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 and then you got quiet. Now I'm the boss. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how they knocked heads a little bit when they separated.
So what was Belichick like in a meeting room?
He was just like the press conference. I mean, he's just going to tell you what you need to know, a little bit more emphatic when it comes to stressing certain things that are important. But when I got there, everyone in the room was a veteran. You know, LT was smart. You know, by the time he had been with Bill all that time, with Belichick all that time, he learned a lot of things. And not only did he play instinctively, he was a better player as he got older because of the stuff that Belichick taught him. Now you're sitting up there with Carl Banks. That's another coach on the field. Mm-hmm. Gary Reasons. Mm-hmm. That's another coach on the field. So everything's almost kind of understood in the meeting. We've been here before, guys. They hadn't changed their defense since '86 or whatever, since he got there. So it wasn't like they had a whole bunch of adjustments to make. And they play against the same opponents. He knows the same coaches, so he attacks it in that way in a very uniform manner. And like I said, the most exciting thing that happened was when LT was late or something. And he come up with a stupid excuse.
And that never happened,
No,
right?
no, not much.
All right, let's talk Zeke here when we come back here in just a moment on Mix Shots.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
Back to Mixed Shots.
Energize your next event with an appearance by the world-famous Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Ignite your audience and create personalized moments for all. To book America's sweethearts for your next event, visit DallasCowboyCheerleaders.com/appearances.
Nice.
Very nicely done, Mickey Spagnola, as we have about 8 minutes left on this edition of Mix Shots. We played a cut from Zeke talking about him being limited in practice yesterday and his rib injury, which stretches all the way to his backside. There has been a series, the Zeke interviews this season have been very entertaining.
So did you catch all of yesterday's?
I did not. Do you have some more you would like to pass along?
Well, they were asking him about last year.
Okay.
And he said, oh, yeah. He goes, that was an S show. Meaning himself. The fumbles,
right,
and he called it an S show.
That is very accurate, by the way. Yeah, a lot of people would concur with that.
But like the other day, he's talking about Trayvon, and we've talked about on the show, and the number of interceptions. Well, he's at 6 now. Man, what's the record? 9 or 10? And,
right.
and someone said 14. Ooh. Oh, that's a lot.
I'm surprised he didn't go OS.
The giggle that he has is just...
It's infectious.
It's so funny.
The giggle at the end of the rib thing is just...
That's right.
But you know what? He's become more real this year. Like he's let his guard down. I'm not sure why. But he was very protective for, I would say, the majority of his first 3 seasons. And I think a lot of it had to do with the court case and the suspension.
Yeah, he wasn't in as much trouble.
And he didn't trust people.
There's
There's no baggage this year, guys.
He's in
That's
a
the
really
main
good
thing.
place. And part of it, maybe he knows he's in the best shape probably of his life, and he's playing well, and he's just in a great frame of mind. But it's in those interviews you can really see it. And I think you put it best there that he's not guarded at anything that he's just himself, and you can see how he has got to be one of the most popular guys in that locker room.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
And I think he's taken a leadership role, too, in there. And if you think about it, at the end of these interviews, before when we were in the locker room and everybody's huddled around him, he would finish, and then he'd just kind of put his head down and walk off. There was very rarely a chit-chat. Now he finishes and he goes, all right, well, good. Everybody have a good day, and it's like, all right.
I don't know, maybe it's a maturity about him that where he felt like he had to be guarded on what he said, and so he would kind of get caught in his answers to questions where he wasn't sure what to say, and so he would stumble a little bit. But he is it's very smooth. I've told our producers at CBS 11 we need to put a reel together of just the funny stuff,
right,
which has the laughter and stuff of throughout this season. And by the end of the season, you could have a 5-minute reel that is just really entertaining.
And
he's
laughing at his
talk.
He's laughing at his own jokes.
It's self-deprecating.
Yes.
I mean, it's just it's just really cool. And part of it too, he's very very comfortable because people wonder, Tony Pollard's getting all these carries and stuff. He's fully on board with that. You can just tell that he's bought into the team concept on stuff.
Never bothered him one bit.
And I think that's kind of one of the traits for this team right now is how unselfish they are. And you rarely see that on offense, right? The receivers are the unreceivers in the NFL because no one's worrying about how many targets they get, how many catches they get. Yeah.
Are you calling Tony Hill and Drew Pearson prima donnas and Butch Johnson? Is that what are you saying Michael Irvin is a prima donna? Come on.
No, I think I was referring more closely to Terrell Owens and Des Bryant, right? Because of their persona, they would provoke the question. Oh, are you happy? Did you get enough touches? Did you get enough targets? And poor Terrell Owens, it was like I could answer those questions for him. The Tony Dungy, I don't know what it was, one of the phone providers. I could put the helmet on like Dungy did. The kid was on a date in the car, and he was telling him what to say to the date, right? I could have answered his questions for him. Just listen to me, right? And he would try to take on a group of 20 people. And you can't do it. You can't do it. Mm-hmm. And poor Dez, he was just so nice. I mean, he was nice, but he didn't know how to answer.
He couldn't articulate it
right, exactly,
in a politically correct form.
Yes, exactly. Yes. That one day when he told Rich Dalrymple, the PR director, somebody asked a question he didn't like, and he was like, "Rich, fix this S." And it's still a drop now, right? It's still a drop.
That's a good one.
Along those same lines with Zeke.
How about y'all fix this?
There you go.
What kind of question did he ask him?
I forgot what it was.
God.
Somebody was in the locker room doing something, and he didn't like it.
No, what it was someone was live tweeting something in the locker room, and
he saw it.
Dez was at his locker reading this guy live tweeting in the locker room, and he was basically complaining because the guy was he was a national guy that was just there, I believe. He wasn't one of the beat guys. So he
that's
went
what
off
it was.
on that guy. And
fix this.
But now, when you start talking about Zeke, it was all the things that you guys said. It was maturity.
And that was Dez.
I'm talking about Zeke.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Zeke, Chris.
I know. I said that was Dez who said that, not Zeke.
I understand.
Just be sure.
Thank you.
But now we've moved on, Chris.
We're doing the
Zeke
show, Chris.
now.
Thank you, though. I'm not going to mess you up because you're a producer. I want you to get on me.
See, Chris,
can I move along, Chris, please?
I'm not the only one they pick on, okay?
But no, it's both of those. Because of the maturity, he's overcome all of that. You know, the Bourbon Street, just the rumors, the stuff at Ohio State that followed him, and just so much mess. He finally put that
St.
behind
Patrick's
him.
Day parade.
Yeah, all of that, man. He finally put it behind him, though. Yeah. And because you can put that behind you, now he's more comfortable with himself. And like you say, he lost that weight. He feels so much better to where all excuses are behind me, and now I can be myself. And let's not forget, having a quarterback that is so cut and dry, conservative, it's easy to be the opposite of that. You let Dak, toe the line, and then that means I can be more relaxed and be myself while I'm in the
I'll
the
tell
shadows.
you what the other thing's behind him: yards and defenders.
Mm-hmm.
He is 452 right now after 5 games. I figured out over a 17-game season, he's on a 1,500-yard pace. And he's third right now in the NFL with 452. Only guys ahead of him are Henry and Chubb. But he's got less carries than them, but he's averaging 5.3 yards a carry. And among non-kickers in the NFC, he's the leading scorer with 6 touchdowns.
And let's look at it like this. If it wasn't, we love Tony Pollard, of course, and he loves him being there. But if it wasn't for Tony, then those numbers would be even higher.
And Pollard's 10th. By the way,
so you add half of those.
yards.
You add just half of Pollard's numbers to Zeke, and then that's what you're looking at.
So those two guys right now, if I do some quick math here, they're like at 800 yards total.
What is it? 325 plus
325 and 452.
452.
So that's like 780.
777.
Okay, that was pretty good.
Divided by 5. That's 155.4 per game times 17. They are on a pace together to have 2,642 yards this season.
So that's why right now the Cowboys are the second-ranked rushing offense in the league. I believe it's behind Buffalo or Cleveland. Behind Cleveland. Cleveland. Yeah.
And the quarterback with the number 2
quarterback rating. Correct.
So what does that add up to? A hell of an offensive line.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's what that adds up to. A hell of an offensive line, and I got to say a hell of a play caller as well.
And the quarterback is 4th in touchdown passes.
And by the way, a lot of the stuff we're talking about Zeke, you can also apply to Amari Cooper.
Right.
And his interviews that he's doing this year, I mean, he is very insightful, and you can see how smart he is in his interviews. There's a comfort level that he has this year that it's a change from the past.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it has a lot to do just with the confidence that this team, they really believe they got something special here.
And like you said, you got a group of wide receivers that are unselfish.
No one's complaining.
That is very, very
And that's without
unusual.
Michael Gallup.
Yeah, that is very unusual.
And then throw 2 tight ends in there, too.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it's not like Jarwin's going, I should be doing
trying to do. No, he's doing the best he
fine,
can. That's right. He's in
and
there
Schultz
doing his work.
I mean, it's an amazing offense. And like I said, we will find out more just how good they are when they go up against the professor.
That's right. Number 5 defense in the league.
That's right.
Can't wait for my pick.
And they held, and like I said,
can't wait for y'all's pick to crit.
They held Brady to 19 points and no touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm. That was a bad weather game. This is going to be a good weather game.
No, they played him well in Texas State, in AT&T Stadium as well when he came here. That wasn't bad. I mean, they could have done better.
No, I'm talking about New England.
Brady against New England.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. And in fact, we can close with this. Weather forecast on Sunday in Boston, not Foxborough, but Boston, close enough. 66 degrees for the high, partly cloudy skies. Low 52, high 66.
Perfect football weather.
That's right.
That's warm for Boston.
Yeah. So,
hey, but just know when they went up there in that rainstorm in 2019, Dak threw for more yards than Brady and had more total yards offense than the Patriots did. and they lost 13-9.
Mm-hmm.
9-time Pro Bowler Matthew Slater.
That's
on
right.
Special teams. All right, we will have our picks to click tomorrow here on another edition of Mick Shots.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.